Tanis Fox, your big issue this session was reform of the state's Oil and Gas Act. What happened?
This last session, there was a governor-initiated reform package for oil and gas, really to hold industry better accountable. This effort began really last year with legislation that we were pushing that would represent real reform of the 1935 Act, which hasn't been reformed fully since then. The governor initiated a working group last summer composed of industry representatives, NGO representatives like myself, and the state. And we worked on various issues really, really hard throughout the fall and winter. That effort produced a governor-led bill, HB 131, that was to be heard in the House Energy Committee. And once that bill was filed, things fell apart. And I guess in a word, industry killed the bill, and it got out of two committees in the House, but could not get to the House floor. So for purposes of this short session, Oil and Gas Reform Act is dead.
But you did get some wins.
Absolutely, there are some wins this session for the environment. The legislature is going to fully fund the Land of Enchantment Legacy Fund. That's an amazing fund that helps fund state parks and soccer fields and protects lands all over New Mexico. That fund is now fully funded and sustainable, in perpetuity. We got development money to protect New Mexico surface waters, our streams, our rivers, our wetlands that are really threatened right now in light of the U.S. Supreme Court's decision last year, Sackett versus EPA, which really shrunk EPA's authority to protect New Mexico waters. New Mexico waters are particularly at risk because of the nature of the decision and the numbers of waters, up to over 90%, that are now not protected by the federal government. So that development money, that seed money, is going to go a long way to helping to protect New Mexico surface waters.
There's some tax credits too, right?
There's 7 tax credits that were passed, green tax credits that give tax credits for EVs, for geothermal energy, and the like. And those tax credits are really good. They will help low-income and middle-income people purchase EVs, and they are really good climate measures.
And heat pumps for people's homes.
Exactly. Everybody can relate to a heat pump, yes.
Representative Hembry, you're from Roswell. Oil and gas is the core it's the economic driver of your community. We were talking earlier about a big push to kind of reform the state's oil and gas law, right? And it looks like it didn't happen this session. Were there some changes that the industry supported that you think would have been helpful?
Yes, I think so. The act as it was really disproportionately harmful to smaller independent producers, and that's a core in Roswell and Chaves County and the surrounding areas. There are things, though, that I think could be done that industry would support to address some of the same concerns as what was in the Oil and Gas Act.
Can you give me an example of some of the ideas that you would support as updates?
Sure. So the oil and gas conservation tax was originated in the 1950s, I believe around 1959. And originally that oil and gas conservation tax, which is still paid by every producer in the state, that tax originally went to the Reclamation Fund to address abandoned and orphaned wells. And we do have an abandoned and orphaned well problem here. I think the current administration under Secretary Fuchs is doing a very good job of addressing that with the funds they have.
But there's not enough money in the fund.
That's right. And part of that reason was because around 20 years ago or so, this legislature changed the way the oil and gas conservation tax was distributed. Rather than 100% of it going to the reclamation fund, it first went to the general, it now first goes to the general fund and is then appropriated to the reclamation fund, and currently only about less than 20% of all that tax goes to the reclamation fund. There's been some movement to change that back, or maybe not to 100%, but for a lot more of that money to go for its true intended purpose, which is the reclamation fund.
Representative Brown, when you go home to Carlsbad after this session, what are you going to tell folks there that you're most proud of having accomplished up here?
There are several things that I think are really victories, assuming the governor keeps those intact. One of them for sure is transportation money for our roads in southeastern New Mexico. It is actually a big win. We started off with a recommendation of the extra revenue, $3.5 billion. Zero was recommended by the Legislative Finance Committee for road repairs. And I think we boosted it to $220 million. I kept standing firm on that we needed to do more, and working through the process, we ended up with some good road money. And then there's something happening on the Senate side that may actually funnel into road projects that I identified particularly and ran legislation on to get funding for road work. Looking at Highway 308, 128, 285 and 31. So people in my district will know those numbers.
And you worked on some education issues too.
I sure did. So I've been a proponent for career technical education for many years, and last year we made some gains, $40 million statewide, and this year we're going to see about the same amount. And the idea is to just put these career tech programs in every school in New Mexico. We're talking junior high and up, and letting our students choose where to go with their talents and their interests. So we're seeing a lot of movement now on CTE, and I really am thankful that other legislators are on board with that now.
What are some of the careers that kids in Carlsbad could be going into that they could be working on while they're still in junior high and high school?
Sure. So at Carlsbad High School in particular, they have now the academies set up, and so students pick one to work through. And we do have some CTE lab renovations going on, so construction, auto mechanics, things in environmental pursuits, things like that. So there's quite a bit there now, but we need to expand those programs for sure.
Representative Jones, you're a nurse. When you go back to Deming, what are you going to tell them that this legislature accomplished in terms of health care for areas like Deming?
Yes, well, I'm particularly proud of the fact that we were able to push through the rural healthcare tax credit that would include nurses and several healthcare providers in rural areas. It allows them to see several $1,000s in their pockets, and that is a measure that's been, or a bill that's been put forward by Representative Miguel Garcia for many years now, I believe 9 years, but he's allowed me to partner with him and make that a good bill, and it's getting through this year. I'm really proud of that.
And we've had trouble with rural hospitals struggling to stay open. Is there some help for them here?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, we have passed some legislation this year that will help those hospitals keep their doors open, and especially in the rural areas, because a lot of them are struggling. Some of them are having to close their doors for obstetrics. Women have to travel long distances in some areas of New Mexico to deliver their baby or to get proper health care when they're pregnant. So we're working on funding those hospitals, making sure they can keep their doors open.
You serve on the House Health and Human Services Committee, and the legislature has done a fair bit in terms of health care this session. What are the highlights that you are proud of?
Well, I am proud that the committee recognizes that the health concerns of New Mexicans are complex and will not be resolved in one bill. So we are looking at drug transparency prices, rural health care, recruitment and retention of medical providers, disability access and opportunity, and many, many more to be able to create a comprehensive plan. And we're working on it year-round to be able to address that.
And how will the new healthcare authority help?
Well, we will see. So, as all-encompassing health care authority, they should have buying power to be able to lower some of insurance and drug prices, and that is the theory behind creating this new position.